entertainment.
Aloha, and welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner, brought to you by Caldwell Banker, Roy and Betty Sakamoto, Kapalua office. Another great week. We're all getting ready for Christmas now. So many things are happening. Thanksgiving for us was kind of quiet, right? But
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. We were kind of happy to keep it quiet this year, as I'm sure a lot of you were. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about Pearl Harbor. We're 2 days late, but part of it is we have a story that we're going to read, and if anybody wants a copy of it, you could call us at 808-870-7062 and leave a message or text us, and we'll send you a copy of it, because it'll probably be a little hard to totally get it. But at a time in the world where it's so hard for people to get along, and we're all trying to make all lives matter, and we should all be being better people and take care of our neighbors and do everything that we can. It's just an interesting story, wouldn't you say, Roy?
Oh, yes.
It's kind of fun. I mean, I've got to say, if I decide I'm going to blubber through this, I'm going to pass it to Roy and make him finish it. But let's just see if I can. I've got to actually read it, unfortunately, but that's just how it's going to go. The story is of two mothers that basically got together at Pearl Harbor. And it was written by, as best I know, Edward Patterson from New York City. And the gist of it is December 7th. It was as if God meant to put her there just to show a ship is in truth a mother to her crew, and that she would even die for them. She did. The USS Arizona, to this day, in Pearl Harbor, her sons are at peace and safe inside her womb. The way they tell it, the old lady, Mrs. Room, was a young woman when she first came from Dayton, Ohio, every year on December 7th. She visited the Battleship Arizona Memorial. She was nearly blind now and used a cane. The guards knew her well, helped her across the gangplank, and led her to the railing. From there, across Pearl Harbor, she could faintly make out Hickam Field in the hazy distance. They'd leave her alone as she would pray for her dead son, who lay entombed deep inside the Arizona. The staff knew when she was ready to leave, and she'd clutch her cane, rap it several times down on the deck. Once long ago, the attendant asked why. Well, my son's down there, you know. Oh, I see, but no one understood at first. The good book says, knock, and it shall be opened unto ye, Mrs. Room went on. The priest in Dayton told me so. Oh? By astonishing coincidence, a young Japanese woman first came to the memorial the same year, and at curiously the same time as the American lady did. The staff called her Mrs. Kito from Kyoto. She answered to the name. Now she was an old lady, too. She understood English, and like her people, she was inquisitive and observant. Hey, Mrs. Kito, one of the staff would greet her. Glad to see you back. She'd bow deeply and simply say, yes, yes, fine. And that was all she ever said. But this time, after all these years, an attendant suggested, you two ladies are fixtures here. You need to know one another. So they moved closer along the rail. Mrs. Kito extended her hand, and Mrs. Room grabbed it. Yes, yes, Mrs. Kito began. Glad to meet you, Mrs. Room responded. Now the guards drew back discreetly. You see, madam, Mrs. Kito continued, but I come here every year, too. My son, a pilot, he died December 7th. I'm so sorry. My son was a sailor. He's down there with all the others. I know. So sorry, madam. God's will, the American lady said. I say same, the Japanese lady replied. Though I can't see, I can feel my son is close, Mrs. Room explained. And I look up, the Japanese lady went on. I see seagull, and it's my son's plane. They chatted as they never had before. A bond of shared grief is stronger than any link in a chain. Mrs. Room sighed. Well, it's time to go now, just as she prepared to pound on the deck. Madam, Mrs. Kito hastened to speak. Buddha, my God, I know why you use your cane. Your son here, and God will hear. Yes, that's so. This time, madam, may I use your cane with you, Mrs. Kito asked. Your son not be here had my son not come first. Your kind Mrs. Room managed to get a handkerchief out and dabbed her eyes. They grasped the cane together and struck the memorial's deck as if it was the cold metal hull of the sunken battleship itself. Thump, thump. Please, God, Mrs. Keto prayed for both of them. We knock on door. Listen, please open for both our sons. And after that, they walked for the first time, arm in arm, past the guards, who diverted their glance in touching respect and sympathy. When they had gained the gangplank, both turned around and crossed herself. The other bowed deeply. The American and the Japanese turned back again and helped one another to board the ferry returning to the mainland. That's the end of the story, but I still think after the war, the Japanese, the Americans, and the whole world, everybody needed to come together, and somehow they did a pretty good job. And I just wanted that to be a message, to all of us, to remember Pearl Harbor and what it means to each of us. And on a day-to-day basis, remember, you can be Mrs. Keto and Mrs. Room. You can love one another even though something horrible happened to you. And I think that's pretty much the message.
No, it's a great story. It reminds me of, what was it, maybe 7-8 years ago when we went to Hiroshima.
Oh,
and,
yes.
the Peace Memorial there in Hiroshima. And for those of you who have been there, you'll know what we're talking about. For those of you who have not, if you ever get to Japan, you need to go there, to Hiroshima, and go through the Peace Memorial. Very, very moving. There will never be another war if everybody in this world had to go through that.
Absolutely. And there was every nationality there. There were every serviceman in uniform from our country and from other countries would pass through. Definitely families. It was huge, and almost nobody walked out without crying. I mean, I'll cry every time I think of it, and some of the stories that were told about what happened and how it happened. And there's so many reasons why it never should have happened. So they can't be debated. It's just too much. They've got to love we got to love one another.
Right. And, I was walking next to a woman from Switzerland, and we started talking as we were going through the exhibits, and she was actually in tears, and I was in tears going through all the photos and the stories. And, here she is, a citizen of Switzerland, a neutral country, not involved in any wars, and she's in tears going through this peace memorial. And she was the one that said, everybody should be made to go through this.
And absolutely, that's the truth. And I believe what Roy said a minute ago is the truth of everything. If we all went through there, we would have to see to it there was never another war. Never another war. There was a river there that was boiling, and the people were trying to get away from the bombs, everything that happened, and jumped in the river. And, of course, it was truly boiling. And everything you saw there, it just can't ever happen again.
Yeah, one telling photograph was people on the ground were looking up at this parachute coming down, and attached to that parachute was the first atomic bomb. And, it exploded several thousand feet above the land and set off this fireball that basically obliterated most of Tokyo and set the river on fire, and people were running from this. Their flesh was falling off their bodies. It was horrible, absolutely horrible.
Interestingly enough, taking this many, many years later, when I met my husband, Roy Sakamoto, who does happen to be Japanese, I came from New York State and as Irish as could be. And my mother, who adored Roy as we came into a life together, but she wouldn't say for the longest time that he was Japanese. She would say he was Hawaiian because the war was still, I'm basically a World War II baby. You're basically a World War II baby. Mm-hmm. And it had to be so hard. What our parents went through and what your mother went through. She would have been just pregnant at the time of Pearl Harbor.
Right.
So anyway, it's enough of that for today. Maybe we should try a little real estate. We still have a possibility Norm Eston will check in. And then one last thing, for anyone that has a little bit of energy going for them, the Century Tournament of Champions is coming January 6th to January 9th. And the Lahaina High School Foundation really needs a lot of support for that. Volunteers that will come out and work from December 31st to January 11th. You don't have to work every day. You can get set up for a couple of shifts, which are probably around 4 hours in length. Don't need to be a student or an alumni. You just need to volunteer some time and help support the students and staff of Lahaina Luna. You could call Jeff at 214, that would be 808-214-2839, or call myself, Betty Sakamoto, 808-870-7062, and we can try to fill you in or get you some information to understand that we really desperately need some help for the tournament, and it'll be, I think, kind of fun for most anyone.
The Century Tournament of Champions is a lot more than a golf tournament. First of all, it did start as a golf tournament, but through the PGA Tour and through Century Insurance, it's been a huge benefactor for Maui charities. I know Halimakua is a big beneficiary of the tournament. Halimakua donates a lot of hours, emptying trash cans.
So you don't have to worry about having to do the trash job.
Right.
Halimakua's got it.
No, but there's a variety of volunteers needed for all the tournament activities that go on, whether it's driving players back and forth to the hotel and the golf course or whatever. So it takes a village, again, to put on something like this, and the village benefits with huge bucks for charities.
It is amazing. Lahaina Luna last year ended up with more financial support than ever, as probably Halimakua did. But it takes a lot of time, and they're really needing lots and lots of help this year.
And I'll say this, Bill McParton, the CEO of Century Insurance, is a true kama'aina. He's very, very happy to learn about Maui charities and wants to learn about Maui charities. And what a great job that Century Insurance does.
The Ritz-Carlton also plays a big part in the tournament, helps with a lot of things, and they've also been really, really great for Lahaina Luna High School. And they've done a variety of things over the years, contributed food, contributed things, and I guess we could start naming the ones that do help, but there's so many that help Lahaina Luna High School, and many of them through the Lahaina Luna High School Foundation. And keep in mind, the foundation built the stadium, so it was an amazing feat, and that took a lot of people, mainly Sue Cooley.
Yes.
Anyway, but what about real estate?
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. You first.
We are a real estate show after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to talk about a new listing that we have. It's in Opukea. F201 is the apartment number. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,300 square feet, and situated, if you are not familiar with Opukea, it's right downtown in Lahaina. Easy walking distance to all the shopping centers, downtown Lahaina itself. And it's listed at $695,000. It's a great owner-occupied development. No vacation rentals are allowed, which is great. There's 2 parking stalls, assigned parking stalls for this apartment, and very easy to see. So call me. It's Roy, 808-870-7060, and tell me you want to see Opukea F201.
And the other thing is, it also could be a great second home. I mean, I'm with you. I see it more as probably somebody living there that works in Lahaina or somewhere in West Maui, because it really is. It's sweet. It's newer. It's really in great shape, and you can walk anywhere from there.
Yes.
It's really super.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, another good property right now, 2760 Kalepa in Kanapali, which is Royal Kanapali Estates, listed at $2,740,000, listed by Elizabeth Quayle. Great property in really good condition. It could use some upgrading. It's a little bit older now. I think it was completed. It was originally built 1975 and has had a great remodel in 2012. But call Elizabeth on that, 808-276-6061.
That's a great property. It's, again, right on the Royal Golf Course at Ka'anapali. And we old-timers used to call it the North Course. Now it's called the Royal, right on the golf course.
Where's the Roy's tournament tomorrow? Is that the North? Is that which course?
It's on the Royal.
Oh, good. So we'll get to go by our listing.
Yes.
Roy's has had a great golf tournament that also funds a variety of charities and takes care of a lot of things in West Maui. Roy's restaurant chain.
Right. It's basically a benefit for Imua Rehab, and well worth participating. We've been, I guess, every year. This
Every
is what,
year.
the
I think you're one of the only ones that has played every year.
22nd or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We went to a dinner last night down in their new Wailea restaurant. Spectacular restaurant. It's actually, what's the name of it?
It's Humble Market Kitchen or Humble Kitchen Market.
But it was
Yeah.
great. It was really spectacular
Fantastic.
food,
Yeah.
great location, perfect place.
It was nice to see Roy and Denise Yamaguchi also.
And the puppy.
And their puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, check out that restaurant. It's fantastic. It's at the Marriott in Wailea, and you'll enjoy it. Here's another listing that Elizabeth Quayle has. It's 1135 Front Street. It's listed at $1,995,000, a 3-bedroom, 3 baths. Call Elizabeth 808-275-5056.
276.
276, pardon
Sorry.
me. 808-276-5061.
No, 606.
6061. I don't have my regular glasses.
Yeah, he doesn't. 808-276-6061. And that's walking distance to Baby Beach.
Yes.
Really, really a great place.
Fantastic location. Elizabeth Quayle.
You know, we were hoping Norm Eston would call in right around now and give us an update on vaccinations and what's happening and what you should be doing on the virus. But again, just a little quick shout out for Norm Eston, Doctors on Call. He's done a spectacular job for the community, both in Wailea, well, you know, let's say South Maui, Kapalua, Wailea area, everywhere. And then they have also something in Wailuku that does a lot of testing, et cetera. So they've been working like dogs. So I got to assume that he's tied up, and we got him notice a little bit late that we were doing this. But thanks, Dr. Eston, for everything you do for the community. And if somebody is looking to be tested or has waited this long to get vaccinated, no questions asked, call Dr. Eston's office.
Dr. Norm's been kind of like the Energizer Bunny.
He is the Energizer Bunny.
Keeps going and going and does great things for Maui.
You know, he never quits. I think the phone number there is 808-667-7676. So hopefully I'm right on that if you want to call West Maui Doctors on Call, Dr. Eston. One more listing?
Yeah, Ray Chin, who's kind of new to the Cobo Banker world. And welcome aboard, Ray. Ray has this great listing, 844 Anapuni Loop. It's in the Laniakea subdivision in Ka'anapali. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home, listed at $3,695,000. $3,695,000 for 844 Anapuni Loop. Call Ray. His number is 808-344-2677. Ray Chin. Tell him you want to see 844 Anapuni Loop.
Here's another one. The Ritz-Carlton at Kapalua, Unit 1702. Great location looking out at the courtyard. You can have a nice ocean view listed at $999,000. It's one of the only units, it may be the only one on the market at this point, but great rental history for it. You could call Reiko Hada, 808-250-3482. Give her a call, 808-250-3482 at the Ritz-Carlton, Kapalua.
Yeah, that's a project that's been overlooked by a lot of people. Not many people realize there are apartments at the Ritz-Carlton, Kapalua.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And one of the problems really is that they're rented so much that often I think agents that aren't familiar enough will end up not showing it because, or not trying to show it because they're always rented. except during the pandemic, of course. And then
Yeah.
nobody was here to look. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great buy, and call Rayco for that.
Let's see. What you got? One more there.
Yeah, there's a new home being built. It's listed by David Quant from our office. David is at 808-457-0604. Address on this is 751 Oka Kope Street. It's in the Ka'anapali Coffee Farms. So you're sitting on a little over 5 acres. This is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths. It's almost finished construction, about 3,600 square feet under roof, and listed at $5,795,000. Fantastic ocean views, and 5 acres in the midst of a coffee farm. Pretty unique.
You know, another group from our office, Marianne Fitch and her husband, Nam Leviette, recently came on board with so many listings and such a powerful group that it's really spectacular to have them. One of her listings is at the Masters. I mean, she's got so many of the way upper end listings, but I just looked at this one, and there's so few Masters units now available. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, $1,850,000, really great shape. And she can be reached 808-250-1583, and we're feeling really great. We had all worked together very early at Sakamoto Properties. She worked for us at Sakamoto Properties, and we loved it. But she went on, had her own company, and has had an extensive career. But somehow we were fortunate that she's decided to come over with us at Caldwell Banker Kapalua.
Right.
It's amazing. We're having a great time with it.
No, and welcome aboard, Marianne and Nam, and also Joe Dorner, Mihaila Stoops.
Joe Dorner, I think a lot of you, many people know Joe. She's worked. She has not worked as long as I have at Kapalua. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah.
But between the two of us, we bring a lot of age to the property, and we're very happy. And having Jolene on board is spectacular. And she still comes in, sits floor time, talks to people, and there's always someone coming by that knows Jolene that just wants to come and talk story.
And a great sense of humor.
She is funny.
Yeah.
She's, we're down to about 2 minutes right now. So we aren't going to get Norm, it sounds like, because we had hoped to get him about 10 minutes ago to see if we could just get somewhat of an update. Anything else you can think of for now?
Here's one of Marianne's finest listings. It's 4851 Lower Honoapi'ilani Road in Kahana. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths, a little over 5,200 square feet. So you're sitting on half an acre plus, and right on the ocean in Kahana, listed at $15,500,000, 15.5, and call Marianne and tell her you want to see 4851 Lower Honoapi'ilani Road. Her number 808-250-1583.
You know, Roy, I'd kind of love to end with the Century Tournament of Champions and the Lahaina Luna High School. Definitely need help. Jeff Rogers is the person to call, 808-214-2839, and let's see what we can do to put a great group together. And he can fill you in, or I can fill you in, but I think he's really the best person. 214-2839, and here's
Danny.
Here's Danny Couch. Thank you, Danny, for always letting us use your song. Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.